Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we got another Walking Dead TV show Q&A. Real quick though, I want to give you guys a little update. Around this time of year is when I take a step back for the holidays, for the new year, but I also look at the channel and do some things behind the scenes. We will be back in full force in the first week or second week in January of 2017 with the Walking Dead topic discussion videos. We will have some Q&As now until then, and we will also upload some of the other videos that I'm a little behind on as far as the ones I didn't get up during the holidays, like the subscription boxes, the mail videos, some reviews, especially some figure reviews. Speaking of which, McFarlane Toys just sent in a box of goodies to look at. I cannot wait to check out this Spawn guy. I want to have a discussion about the color tops as well. And the box for you collectors out there who are interested, that guy's a badass. And I think there's a Toys R Us exclusive with that. But later today, maybe a little bit after this video, I'm going to be doing the review of the Walgreens exclusive Aaron. He doesn't come out until January, the middle of January, give or take, only at Walgreens. So keep an eye out for that. And then tomorrow we will do another Q&A plus the figure review for Constable Rick. And he's the one that goes alongside the Constable Michonne, which I am thrilled they made that because together they look complete in your open display or even an inbox collector. Let's dive into the questions, starting this off with Eric B. He asked if they're going to cram all of All Out War into 7B, or will it be the March to War? I think it will be the March to War. I think it's just a mistake to cram that much storyline into 8 episodes, especially since Rick and gang didn't even link up with the other communities. And there's not going to be a lot there as far as they did something smart. They have Morgan and Carol set up and establish a relationship with Ezekiel. And this is very clever now that I'm thinking about it, because this is going to bypass a loophole where if they didn't do that and Rick just came to Ezekiel, he doesn't have much to go on except for Jesus' word alone, you know. But now, that was like in the comic version, now Ezekiel trusts Morgan and Carol, so they obviously will back that. Rick is a good dude, and he's definitely one to side with in a war like that. So I think that was very smart of them to do, but I think it's a mistake to cram all of All Out War in the second half. Maria asked if Hilltop is going to be as important as the comic. You also asked if they will bring in, instead of making the Hilltop important, bring in a different community like Oceanside. I think that would be a mistake. I think bringing in Oceanside as a like setting up the community a little early compared to what they did in the comic, I think that is smart for fleshing out this world, and it adds a little something more to Oceanside. Oceanside already is bigger and more interesting than it is in the comic. The comic gets a little difficult though, because we only get a tiny bit of information in the comic, and then you actually got to go to Michonne's Telltale game to get a little more information and a better idea about Oceanside. And still, even with all that, it's not much at all. So the Hilltop will definitely be as important in the TV show as it was in the comic. Next up, Omar asked if we're going to get bottle episodes in 7B, and that is the second half, the back 8 episodes. Yeah, we will definitely not be escaping the bottle episode structure anytime soon, so look forward to that. Dylan C. asked if the Whispers are going to come in Season 8 or 9, and I think that's a really good guess. I'm afraid they're going to bring them in Season 8, because I don't think that the time between seasons is a big enough break to set up the story that comes after All Out War. So, as far as the Whispers and a New Beginning. So I'm really hoping it's in Season 9. That's what I'm hoping for. Ramir J. TV and comic Negan, you're asking if he is redeemable in any way, shape, or form. And that's a solid hell the fuck no. He killed Glenn. There's no redemption for that. Comic Negan. In the TV show, well, you know what? I take that back. In both the TV show and both the comic, he killed Glenn and Abraham. Technically, he did, even though Dwight killed Abraham in the comic, and it was a different time. It was a couple days difference, something like that. He's still responsible for it indirectly and then directly. And on the TV show, it's directly for both of them. It was brutal. It was disturbing. Interesting as hell. A great part of the story as far as this villain's introduction. And that is one thing that frustrates me with the fan base. When I talk about liking Negan so much, I always get that little cluster of fans that act as if I condone his actions. You know, like I am fine with lining up survivors and beating their heads in real life. That's just not how it works. This is a TV show. I just want an interesting story, good life, good death for the characters, and that's that. Keep it moving, you know? So I love Negan, especially as a villain. With that being said, no, there's just no way to redeem him. He killed Glenn, dude. You know? As far as Heath, you have that there's foreshadowing. That's interesting. I really hope that's wrong, but basically what you're asking is that when Tara saw the walker and she thought it was Heath, is that foreshadowing of him becoming a whisperer? And I hope not. If they do that, I will rant like a son of a bitch. Picture Heath and Glenn back at the Savior Outpost. Before that, even before they went into the outpost, go back and watch and look at the subtleties in their conversation about how much it bothers Heath to kill humans, you know, to kill other living beings. And then picture him being okay raping little girls. You know what I mean? No, God no. So if they ever made Heath a whisperer, I would be pretty pissed. Definitely. You know what? I just thought about something. The foreshadowing could be for his death. I'll buy that. But becoming a whisperer? No, I'm not buying that. Levy R. Carol end up with Ezekiel. Yeah, I think at this point in time, Carol will end up with Ezekiel in some capacity. I don't know if it's going to be a full-blown love relationship similar to the comic. I know in the comic Ezekiel had a relationship with Michonne, which will not happen in any way, shape, or form. I know I see a few comments asking if, will they break up and then da-da-da-da. No, not at all. Rick and Michonne are going to be there and together until one or both of them die. With Carol, though, I do think they will get together, but I think it will be problematic. I think it will be difficult, and I think they're doing a clever thing remixing it from the comic to the show, because even in the comic, Michonne was touched. You know, she had some issues and she had some problems she needed to take care of. So their relationship was real rocky. It had a good start, you know, but once the dust settled, figuratively and literally, it got a little rocky. Michonne got in her own head, and that caused her to pull away from the relationship. Staying as spoiler-free as I can. I do think they're going to do something similar to that with Carol, you know, so I do think she's going to take some comfort in Ezekiel, but maybe in the end they'll remix it where there's also some friction there and she feels like she can't make that connection, you know? Or they might do something interesting and have one of the characters killed earlier than in the comic as far as Ezekiel. Carol's already been dead. Next up, Eric B. Will Negan search the hilltop for Daryl? This is interesting. This is something that's really interesting. What's the timeline here? I know they wanted to put Daryl giving Rick his gun at the mid-season finale, but if we give it some serious thought, how much time is going to pass in this back half? We already know Rick went from Alexandria to the hilltop, which is not a quick drive. You know, it's not right down the street. He already went there. Then they made plans to go to the kingdom. They're going to go there. And then in the trailer, we see them back at Alexandria. And Dwight, it looks like he pulls in on his motorcycle and some saviors show up. Now, is that Negan? Maybe Negan went to an outpost. Maybe Negan went to do something else. And he didn't even get word that Joey's dead and Daryl escaped. I mean, it's up in the air right now. How many days is going to pass when they come back? I do think that for right now, in a general sense, I do think that Negan's going to be pissed. But I do also believe that Negan might believe before he even gets to Alexandria that Daryl would never risk going back to Alexandria, so maybe Negan has a couple search parties go and search the areas around the sanctuary. Maybe he does have a couple people spy on Alexandria, spy on the other communities. If I was in Negan's shoes, I would not just go barging into a community and start searching house to house, because that's obviously the most predictable thing for somebody to do in this situation. So I would just spy. You know, I would probably show up, poke around, maybe tease, maybe antagonize a little bit. but I would have spies just looking out and waiting for Daryl to pop his head out. You know what I mean? Which is real interesting. What are they gonna do with Daryl? And I still feel that. Remember before I said maybe they'll take Daryl to the kingdom, and I think that's still a great idea. And now I'm thinking, okay, you know what? They didn't do it in the mid-season finale. Maybe this is their chance to do it now, after they go from the hilltop, after they talk to Gregory in episode 9, they go from there to the kingdom, and maybe the kingdom decides to let Daryl stay there to help protect him, help keep him hidden. But also, Negan might, and this is a stretch, but he might even decide, well, you know what, I can't find this bastard anywhere. I should look in the one area that I haven't looked yet. And we do see in the trailer where the people from the kingdom pull guns on each other, and we know that's set up already, that altercation. But maybe what sparks that altercation a little more is that Negan sends a message saying, okay guys, you know what, we have a problem, we have somebody who escaped, so we're going to have to come to the communities and search. And Richard and Ezekiel are like, no, that's not part of the deal, and maybe that sparks them drawing guns on each other. That's interesting, but I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on what you guys think is going to play out as far as what Negan's going to do searching for Daryl, or will he just write it? I don't see him just shaking it off as if, all right, we'll get him eventually, we'll go out and look a little bit. I just see him being pretty pissed and wanting to hurt Daryl for that, Next up, Terry C. Ezekiel, will he play a larger part in 7B? And will Dwight and Ezekiel be at a meeting with Rick Grimes? I don't know if Dwight's going to be there. I discussed this before. I am 50-50 on Dwight being there right now. I think I'm 60-40. I think 60% is leaning towards a new and different introduction. And I still believe that Jesus did not let Daryl out. It doesn't make any sense. When you rewatch it, Jesus looks surprised that Daryl's out. He looks like he might have even been heading in for a vehicle to leave, might have even been heading in to see if he can maybe find a way to see where they put Daryl at, like specifically. I know just saying, oh, lock him up is not going to tell Jesus enough information. Lock him up where? This is a factory. So Jesus doesn't really have a good shot at finding him. With that being said, I think Dwight is going to simply say, dude, I gave you the mash. And Daryl is the only one who knows about that note. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it was set up like that. As far as Ezekiel playing a bigger role, that's tough because the way they're structuring these episodes with the bottle episodes. If they were blending the episodes, I think there's a better chance he will play a bigger role. But as bottle episodes, I don't think so. I think we're going to get pretty much an even amount from comic to show. Yeah, I feel good with that. Harry, what's my hopes for 7B? A very intense and suspenseful build-up to war. I don't want war yet. I love that build-up. That anticipation, it's about to explode with potential. It's just insane. Michael P. Or wait, did I do that? Michael Park. Will we get disposable communities to make the war more epic? Yeah, I do think we're gonna. Listen, the guy with the boots, if that is one guy or if that is a whole new community, that might be our disposable community. Because the way I look at it, we have the kingdom, it's not disposable. Hilltop, nope. Alexandria, no way. Oceanside, I would seriously wonder why they would make that disposable. So I think the boots has to be our one disposable. That might be our one community that we lose. And we might not lose it to a war, to burning down or exploding. If they do live in the woods and shit like that, like the people at Oceanside, or maybe they live in a rundown community or some shit like that where they don't make it look like a walled off prospering community. Maybe they hide. Maybe they hide in like a regular apartment community, and then it's all burnt out and all messed up looking. And then in the back of that communities where they have a little village, maybe they play it safe and careful. Maybe we won't see it destroyed, but we'll see them integrate into the other communities and live there instead of that community in hiding. I think that makes a bit of sense, Mark M. When will the second lineup happen? And Brian S. asked if I think the second lineup will have a victim to surprise the audience. Now I know for TV only fans, second lineup it's weird. It is how it sounds as far as like Lucille, Negan, a lineup, and it isn't how it sounds. So if you're thinking spoilers, don't worry. Just knowing there's a second lineup that feels like something you would see in a trailer. It's not a spoiler. Do I think they're going to kill somebody in the second lineup as a big surprise? No. I think we already seen that. We're done with that. And especially since so many fans bitched and moaned about it, I can't see them doing it again. You know what I mean? The only time I think we'll see Negan do something like that again is with a villain towards another evil or bad person. I don't think we'll see him beat someone's head in that is another good guy. You know, I'm not talking about the war. I'm talking about just lineup. I think we will see him kill people sometimes brutally during the war. But as far as making the communities line up and then picking 1 or 2 or 3 to kill, I don't think we're going to see any more of that this season or next season. That is it. We're going to end the questions here. If you want to participate in the next Q&A, go ahead and leave your questions down below and put Q&A before your comment or first thing in your comment. And check out the rules too, just to play it safe. That'll help you get your comments noticed. Put those down below. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.